Hello. Well, yes, most of the snow finally melted, so here's the collection. Let's hop down and take a look. So, although it's not the best collection of EXPs and Escorts, it's definitely the largest. So this is my 1982 Ford Exp. This is a 4-speed car. It is a factory air conditioning car. It is blue on blue. We'll come back to that. That is one that I've restored. I got many more to go. This is a 1981 Escort Gl Automatic. This one is pretty much fully loaded. Power steering, sunroof, air conditioning, automatic. You have the GL, so it's got the different body works than the rest. I think the next step up would be the GLX. This is a 1981 Escort Gl Wagon. This one has actually next to no options. It does have dealer AC. It does have stock automatic. It does have the instrumentation package. Does have factory cruise control, dealer wipers, and then just simple factory AM radio. It's still that 81 wagon I mentioned. We'll just go quick over these guys and then we'll talk about them in detail. This is my 1982 Ford Exp. Was originally a 4-speed with air conditioning. It was converted to an EV in about 1993. Has a black interior. Car was originally white. Did have cruise control. This is another 1982 Ford Exp. Was originally the metallic green and had a black interior. Now it's got half of a red interior on it. It was repainted to blue at some point. Someone put a bubble back hatch on it and later taillights. They changed out a few other things around. The other half of this car is a little further down the aisle, but we'll move on to our next couple cars here. Next one is another blue, factory blue 1982 Ford Exp 4-speed again. This one has a sunroof, unlike my restored blue one. No cruise control, but I do believe this one has power steering. I think this one also even had the clock delete, which is a fairly rare option, but otherwise this one doesn't have too much special to it. This is another 1982 Ford Exp, again with a 4-speed. This car originally was silver over black, meaning everything from this line up was silver, and then everything from this line down was black with a red interior. Did have factory cruise control, factory AM FM stereo, factory sunroof. That was about it. Red interior, yep. We'll talk about more of these guys in details. This one's a little bit more special. This is 1984 Ford Exp Turbo. So being this is the turbo model, it had unique skirting between the wheel wells. It had a rear spoiler on it, and it had a front chin spoiler. And of course the turbocharged engine and the matching special gray turbo interior that we will look at further. This car does have a sunroof, no cruise control, no AC. And I do have all the special turbo body parts. I've removed them so that they're out of the elements. They're safely in storage along with all my other spares for it. This is a 1983 EXP. This one is sporting the 1.6 high output, so it's just the carb motor bumped up in horsepower through a number of different components around the engine. This one is also a 5-speed. I should say that the turbo was a 5-speed. This car was red on red. No AC, no cruise control, no sunroof. Does have a cassette stereo. Otherwise, nothing too fancy. This next car is a 1988 Escort Gl Wagon. So this one has a lot of fancy options to it. like the electronic adjustable mirrors, the automatic seat belt that goes along the tops of the door panel opening. This one has the 1.9 CFI. It does have the automatic transmission, a cloth cream interior, sadly mostly missing. This is another 1982 EXP. This is a kind of unique one because it was made in USA. Not too many 82s were made in the US, but this one was. And it's one of the few 82 EXPs to actually have the high output engine. It does still only have the 4-speed because it's only an 82. 5 speeds came later in 83, or 5 speeds came out for 83, and the high outputs are mostly 83 forward. Only a few late 82s like this have it. But it has half of the body parts that that blue one has, and that blue one has half the red parts that this red one has. This car originally was, you can see here, it was originally red over black. So it would have been red on top, and then below that bumper line it would be black. The interior was red as well. Someone changed out for some black stuff. Again, most of the interior for this one is actually inside that other one that these blue doors came off of. But it had sunroof, it had cruise control, I believe it even had air conditioning, and that's why all that was stripped out of this one. Someone wanted to put in that car. And then this is a 1982 Blue Exp again. This one is also a 4-speed with a standard 1.6. This one's got minimal options. I think it had the stereo, the AM/FM stereo, and that was about it. No air conditioning, no cruise control. I don't even think this one had power steering. So this one was low on the options list, aside from it being blue and having the matching blue interior. It's kind of special. But now we'll move on to our last two cars, so bear with me a second, and then we'll come back to these and talk about them in detail. Continuing on from the rest of the collection, here is my 1986 Escort L Sedan. This one was the carbureted 1.9 with an automatic. It didn't really have much for options. No cruise control, no AC. It does have power steering. Otherwise, that's about it for options. It didn't have any of the special radio options or anything else like that. We'll move on to the last car. And here is where I've saved both the worst and the best for last. This is my 1982 Ford Exp Convertible. Yes, convertible. They didn't make very many of these. Ford had sent out about 50 across the North America to have converted into convertibles, just for them to see how beneficial it would be for them to make these cars as convertibles. So 8 of which landed up at a place called Dynamic Conversions in Hillsdale, Michigan. And I got this car not too far away from Michigan. But yes, this is number 2 out of those 8 that they had access to. And yes, you can see it's pretty rough. It does have no shortage of holes. It's got a lot of Michigan rust on it. Sadly, this is one of my worst EXPs, but it's also the most rare out of all my EXPs. It's one of the most rare EXPs in the world. But because of that, that's why I'm restoring it. You can see it on the side because that's what we're doing to it. We're working on replacing all the bad metal. And then once all that's done, we'll insert new metal, prime everything, paint the entire car on the rotisserie. And then we'll go and fit new suspension, rebuilt engine, rebuilt transmission. Everything on this thing will be new and will be more modern than the equipment on it was for 1982. So we are going to make some decent upgrades to this guy, primarily for safety, but then also some performance stuff. But nothing too crazy. Everything I plan to do to this guy, you wouldn't tell it wasn't factory. you'll look at this car and you'll think it left Ford when I'm done with it. So we'll return to the other cars and we'll talk about them. Otherwise, for the quick video, things will kind of end here.